GF clubbing as wingwoman BS or I'm being paranoid. So, my GF and I are in a monogamous relationship. She didn't mention anything about having plans for tonight, but at around 9, she said she was going to play wingwoman for a single friend that wanted to go out and meet someone. I thought, that's nice of her. I find out that her best friend is not going with her, that it's an hour away one way, so 2 hours of driving, that they decided not to go to the club but to eat dinner, and have not heard from her all evening. Am I being paranoid or do you guys also smell BS? We are in a LDR, but have a trip planned for the 5th. I'm just trying not to set myself up to be the idiot that is the last to find out she's cheating on me like in every other relationship, but I also don't want to come off as controlling or jealous. When we met, both of us discussed how clubbing was boring and that we didn't like going out to be around drunk people. I don't know what changed or why I've never heard of this friend before. What do you all think? Redditors reactions, story 2 after. Op comment, well, she was out with an ex so turns out, gut was right. Donian done. Redditor follow up, I'm sorry about the relationship, but at least you found out earlier rather than later. Worst silver lining. You've got friends here if you need to talk, okay? You're not alone. Redditor 2, she's full of acid. Kick her lying, cheating ass to the curb. Redditor 3, whether she is actually clubbing having dinner, is irrelevant. She lied about what she was doing. It was planned, not spur of the moment. So she thought about it, and decided to deceive you. Kick her to the curb. Good luck. Story 2, think girlfriend might be cheating. My girlfriend recently traveled to another city with a female friend, they went to a concert. At this concert they randomly meet 2 guys in the crowd. One of these guys follows them home during night. Everyth is alright in my eyes, he sounds like a nice guy. But he then sleeps over at their hotel room, because there is no longer any possible ways for him to get home. I guess this is acceptable too, it's not safe at night. But then the next morning they all 4 hang out all day, and the 2 guys drive them to the airport. She is now as of currently snapping with this dude, about her dog. Saying stuff like this is the dog I was talking about. My stomach has had an uneasy feeling all day ever since I realized this guy was sleeping over, which she did not tell me. I had to figure it out by watching Snapchat stories. There has been zero transparency from her side, she has not told me she added this guy on Snapchat. And she is talking a lot about him. Am I overthinking this situation? I have a gut feeling they may have hooked up. Edit confronted her, she gaslighted me by saying I had no intentions of hooking up with this guy, I only viewed him as a friend. I told her she severely disrespected me and my boundaries. She then started crying. She deleted this guy from Snap. But this it still doesn't sit right with me, I'm having second thoughts about the relationship. Been dating for 9 months. Redditors reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, they brought 2 guys they met at a concert back to their hotel room. Yeah, that would be enough for me to break up. Not only is it incredibly unlikely they spent the whole time talking about their hopes and dreams and became BFFs, but the fact they brought 2 men, strangers they know nothing about, back to their place is incredibly stupid. Then you have the fact she wouldn't have done that if you were there, right? But why if it was so innocent? Redditor follow up, 100% this. It would have been over as soon as my partner brought a random dude to her hotel room if he is just a random dude. You certain she and her friend shared the room with the guy and she didn't have another room with the other guy? It'd be done and never look back. I wouldn't see a path to trusting her again. Redditor 2, actions speak volumes. She doesn't respect what most would consider normal relationship boundaries, and now she's joking with her new boyfriend at your expense. She doesn't respect you. Time to bounce. Redditor 3, it's weird that a grown man couldn't get home on his own, not gonna lie. Story 3, so, this apparently belongs here. Petty revenge against my entitled cousin. This is long. Forgive me, I am a sucker for adding context. People need to know I just don't hate this guy and his kids for no reason. I was told that this belongs here rather than on another Reddit, so. You decide? I'm going to try to keep the recap short, as I tend to write what I think and that tends to get long. I have a cousin we're calling LaRon. He, his father, and mother are on a list of people I hate with such venom you could die from inhaling the fumes just being near me. LaRon and his father were physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive to me and others all my childhood, but their treatment for LaRon's little brother, Emmy, was a million times worse because Emmy was effeminate and obviously gay. Emmy was one of my favorite cousins. I love him to pieces, and often the more brutal beatings and torments by the hands of his brother came when I ever deigned to stick up for him. The worst was after some idiot guidance counselor convinced Emmy at like 13-14 to come out to his parents and demand his choice be respected. Well, that didn't end well. The police were called, Emmy went to the hospital. LaRon made a big deal about not wanting to share a room with an insert super offensive homophobic insult. Things happened. Emmy moved in with our nana, and through it all Emi's mother was nothing but a bystander. She let it happen. I had confronted LaRon when we got Emi's stuff, but I wasn't big enough yet to not get my essay kicked. But that would be the last time. Years passed. Things happen. LaRon remained a douchebag. His father got worse, did terrible things. Treated family bad and was a constant source of grief for Emmy and others. My Aunt Bibi didn't divorce him until the umpteenth time he cheated on her. And I've always hated her for crying in my parents' house to my mother and other aunts on why he would do her like that when she does nothing but love him. I remember screaming that it's because he's awful human being, and she knew it. She watched him brutalize his children, he hits her and she's crying over him. I told her she was pathetic and I hated her. I full expected my mom or someone to scold me then, but standing next to Emmy no one seemed to want to try to tell me I was wrong in front of him. Years later, many years later. I'm grown. We all grown. They have kids. I don't have kids yet. Their wife is pregnant now. My cousins, my siblings, all of them have a lot of kids. Age ranges from around 6 or 7 right now for some of the youngest ones, to around 18 to 19 for some of the older ones. My brother's daughter is 18. LaRon's kids are 17. 14, and 12. I don't like LaRon's children. And not because their dad is a mega douche. It's not even because every one of they mamas is more ratchet than the last, with the exception of the 17-year-old, whose mother was a sweet girl I really liked, but LaRon was too much like his daddy for her to stay with him. It's because despite everyone's best efforts to be positive influences on these kids, their father's influence is king. They are rude. They are violent. They are incredibly ghetto. They steal and are generally on that hood rat-ish. Moreover, they have developed their father's homophobia and bully the other kids, and bully Emi's 2 adopted kids cause their parents are gay. I tried having a positive relationship with all of these kids. But I'm no saint. I don't like bad kids. I don't like bad attitudes. I don't like dealing with some of the parents attached to these kids. Because my dad was successful and a lot of his other family was not, there was a lot of friction there. I used to get bullied by them, told I talk white, or that I wasn't black enough. I actually had to learn a little slang in high school just to fit in. Sometimes now it comes naturally, but it still sounds off to my ears when it comes out and I'm not trying. Usually it comes out mostly when I'm angry. Because of this I don't particularly treat everyone the same. Those I like, I got out of my way for. Those I have a stronger relationship, my nieces and nephews who call me, or game with me, the ones who contact me just to talk or tell me about what they're doing rather than just call me to ask for stuff, I favor. In fact, probably trying to get something out of me, is the fastest way not to get it. I'm reasonably stable financially and am known to give really thoughtful or seemingly expensive gifts to those I care for. Those I do not or am indifferent to get rinky-dink gift cards. This has been a cause of friction for my family, though before I ignored the little murmurs cause at least no one had the kind of entitlement to confront me on it. Most of them are people who were terrible to me growing up, who sought no relationship with me as an adult, and did not put in any effort. Most don't even wish me a happy birthday on Facebook. So I meet them with that same kind of energy, though I only been financially where I am for like 4 years, so now a lot of folks is trying to be more chummy with me, and it's transparent. So the inciting event was a birthday. La Ron's kid, and 2 other of my nieces and nephews all have birthday on or around the same day. So they have always shared their party. I like the other 2. So I got them specific gifts based on conversations we've had and their interest. They are all 13, and La Ron's kid is 14. I got the girl a Cintiq because she draws. Given that that is also my vocation, I definitely felt good about that gift. I got the boy a go-kart, cause he's convinced he's going to be a race car driver and always wants one. He was a big fan of Little Giants, which was a movie I watched as kid. But he liked it and so we got him a little go-kart. Each of these cost around $500. I got some hookups, especially with the Cintiq. I live in a different state. So I had the gifts sent to the kids' homes and told their parents to not have them open those gifts or get them at the party. Specifically cause I wasn't getting La Ron's kid anything like that. I may not like them, but I'm not about to rub their nose in anything. Instead I got everyone gift cards and nice handmade cars of their favorite anime characters. Even La Ron's son got himself as a Naruto character in a card on some lovely cardstock. I spent much time with my X-Acto knife crafting. All the kids got $50 gift cards and I donated money to the joint fund for college for them. Which is the standard thing we do on everyone's birthday, the whole family that can. It's so automatic pay what you can that I didn't mention it in my journal. Apparently Auntie Harley and Uncle Mac did not follow my instructions and their gifts got opened at the party. Worse, apparently they were opened right out of the boxes. Everyone knows what they are and what they cost. I got very upset phone call from La Ron and his wife accusing me of favoritism and being petty, taking out my anger against him on his kids. I told him in no uncertain terms my treatment of his children are based on their reaction, not his, cause I hate Bebat and Cora, but I love their kids. I told him they ain't entitled to nothing from me. He swears up and down I shouldn't get anyone anything if everyone don't get something, and that I should just send him the equivalent money because his kid was traumatized by the unfairness of it all. Things got heated and then his current baby mama got on the phone, who ain't related to any of the other 3 and is pregnant with his latest, and she tries giving me the business and I hang up on her. I get 2 more phone calls. One they dial me back. I hang up again. The next my Aunt Monica, who had LaRon and EMI's mother, Aunt Bibi, with her. She says she understands and all that, and she knows what's going on with me and LaRon and how I feel about his kids cause they bully the other kids. But she said that my favoritism might be causing a problem, and she was under the impression, falsely, from LaRon, that I had promised to get his kid a gift of equal value, and I'm now reneging because I'm BTT hurt over something. The first exchange was not good. Especially since they repeated this idea that I send like $500 to LaRon. Things got worse when his mother said something and then asked why I hate her and how I used to be such a good kid. And I went off on her for being a bystander and staying with her husband though he beat her, her kid, and me. I also admonished her for only leaving the guy for cheating on her. Let me be frank. I was not kind when I said this. Not kind in the slightest. I was very mad. After that I got family pressure to just basically make the problem go away. Some quoting that I shouldn't give anything to anyone if I'm not going to be fair. Usually those who I don't do much for. But some folks, even Emmy, had said I'm being too unfair. He believes though his nephew and nieces from his brother are rotten that it's not their fault. He still tries his best to be their friend and buddy, and keeps bringing his kids around trying to have a relationship. I think it's a form of abuse, cause his kids hate it, and they disrespect him and his children. But that's not my call. LaRon is still a shoal to Emmy, so they don't have much of relationship, but Emmy has forgiven his mother. Father not so much. We're both very glad he's dead and we both urinated on his grave. That's not a joke, we said we were going to do it and we did it. If I still lived there I'd make it a yearly event. So LaRon and his hoodrat have been having the family hound me for days. I'm going through my own stuff since my wife is pregnant, and I got my own life and issues and it's really stressed me out. At first I took Reddy's advice and threatened to go North Carolina with anyone pressing me about it. Also, told folks I don't owe anyone anything, least of all fairness when it comes to my generosity. There was a lot of folks coming out the woodworks, and emails and pressure. And I finally caved after talking to Emmy. Emmy and I got talking about it and how things are. And he's defending the kids, talking about how messed up their situation is. How it's hard to come out a better person with those negative influences and how they're probably gonna need therapy like he did. And that gave me an idea. So, you want me to spend $500 or so on your kid for a gift? You want me to give him a well thought out, thoughtful gift of that magnitude? Something that I think he needs or would help him, something I know from the conversations I've had with him like the others. Okay, vet. I called up Aunt Monica, and told her that I'm going to rectify my mistake only because it was wrong for them to open their gifts in front of him like that. And that I'm not a monster, so I will give him something that cost the equivalent he most desperately needs. Aunt Monica knows me, so she's like, "What are you going to do, unfettered? I don't like how pleased with yourself you sound." I tell her it's all good, and to look forward to the gift in the mail. I contacted a friend of my dad's, Dr. Lubzi, who is a child therapist. He said he'd charge $65 an hour. Which is awesome. He's a good therapist, I know, cause I saw him as a kid when I was dealing with all this bullying and stuff. I don't think he was my dad's friend then. I think they became friends after. I told him the story, he knows everything about me, LaRon, and Emmy. Me and Emmy multiple times, and even had 2 group sessions with LaRon and us and even his dad that one time when we were younger. So he understands the situation, though I didn't let him know or imply I was doing this to be a DCK, I am. Mostly, but I do think that LaRon's little devil, let's just say Devin, could use it. I talk him into doing 8 sessions for $500. And say I'll pay. He reminds me that even if I pay, no one can force the kid to go to therapy, especially if LaRon and his mother doesn't want it. So he says talk to them before paying and then we'll see. I say nah, I'm gonna pay it up front, and if they ever want to take it, they can. It'll be my gift to them. He tells me he thinks I've grown up to be an upstanding person. I take the compliment with a acid-eating grin, because I know I'm being a little acid. He said if LaRon doesn't take me up on the offer that he'd refund me. I told him that's cool, just don't give the money to LaRon. He said he wouldn't. After this is secure, I contact LaRon and let him know I've changed my mind and I have gotten his son an equivalent gift. I said I'll send the receipt to him, and it's up to him if he takes advantage or not. Like I thought, he was upset that I didn't just send him the money. I said these are gifts. He tried to play it off like he wasn't just wanting it for himself, making the excuse that I don't know his son and he'd probably be better at buying the gift. But I shut that down and told him I guessed with everyone else, I'm guess here. He wanted to know what it was. I told him he'll see. He got it yesterday afternoon. I got very angry call. Oh, his rage and anger was sweet. He accused me of questioning his parenting. I replied I am. He said I thought I was funny. I said I do. He said some other stuff and I just smugly reiterated that like with the other children I sat down though long and hard about our previous conversations and what they wanted to do or be and got them a gift I thought appropriate to encourage that. Your son wants to be a successful person, and before he can be, I think he needs therapy. I have already gotten so many phone calls. And unlike what I thought, there's been a surprising amount of support for my decision. Though everyone knows I'm being cheeky here. Most who supported me thinks it's a master stroke. My dad, who I'll admit I care what he thinks more than anyone else, said he would have approved of me not doing anything for these leeches, but considered what I did do to be checkmate. And said he's very proud of me. I've always been a creative problem solver. My mother told me I'm an a shoal, but it was a good move. She was laughing, so it wasn't like she was admonishing me. Most who were against me are saying, I was trying to be bogus, but this is actually a good gift for him. Auntie Monica has been dying laughing. Aunt Bibi said through Monica that I was trying to hateful, but I actually was helpful, so thank you. And some said some mean acid and I told them they can got North Carolina, if they don't like what I do with my money. Emmy believes I did the right thing and finds it hilarious. He promised that if Devin does go, he will match my contribution to get him another 5 sessions. LaRon and his hoodrat baby mama Kimberly are so angry now cause the family are telling them they got what they wanted, and now they're just sounding selfish and greedy. You can't ask for a specific gift. They ain't got much of a leg to stand on. Here's what I know. LaRon would have spent that money on himself. I also know if I bought something tangible, they would have sold it and spent that money on themselves. This isn't why I didn't do that. I didn't do that causes I didn't want to give Devin nothing, but being able to foil their selfish little plan was an added bonus. So now, I'm happy and I can focus on my pregnant wife and her current crisis. Yay me! Redditors reactions, story 4 after. Redditor 1, Rarely do you get petty revenge and potentially actually help someone who needs it in the process, so hats off to you. Redditor follow-up: rarely you get posts that say they're sorry for the long post and the posts are indeed long. Appreciate it. Thanks op. Redditor 2, congratulations to you and your wife. This story was so worth reading all the way through. A perfect revenge that also helps someone in need. I hope Devin gets his therapy and follows in your footsteps. Please update on whether or not Devin took advantage of his birthday gift. You are going to be a great father. Best wishes to you and your family. Op answer: I got to hope so. There's a lot of misplaced anger in that boy, and how he lashes out makes him rather unlikable. He's cruel, not just mean, cruel. And if somehow that can be fixed, I'm all for it. Redditor 3, this was a delicious story, loved all the side comments and backstory. I have a similar situation in my extended family but never had to deal with this kind of pushback. Now you go no contact and wash your hands of the soul suckers. Story 4, 11 years together, married for 2. Found out she cheated 6 years ago. We had only been with each other. Hello everyone. I'm posting here today because I guess I'm a little lost. I don't know what to do or how to feel. I found out 2 days ago that my now wife slept with another man 6 years ago while we were dating. We got married 2 years ago now. To tell the story, we got together in high school, we're in our late 20s. I had only dated one other person, she had dated a few, but neither of us had been S-time-ule with anyone else. At that point 5 years in, she one day told me she was unhappy and wanted to end the relationship, because she had met someone else. We talked about it and decided to stay together, but she needed some space, so I gave it. After a week of very little contact we talked again, and decided to work on things and fix them. I asked if she had gone out with the guy she had been talking to, she said no. A few years later I asked again, even though things were okay with us. She told me no, that nothing happened, and we went on. It always kind of struck something in me though. I felt like there was more, but didn't want to push. I think part of me didn't want to know. 2 years ago we got married. I should say, aside from that one moment, we haven't ever had any problems or doubts creep in. We've been happy and together, and it's been good. We've had a happy first 2 years of marriage, and other than the one speed bump, a happy 11 years together. Then she cleaned some stuff from college out of her parents' house. I hadn't planned to snoop, but everything she brought was right by my car in the garage, and I ended up knocking over a journal of hers from college. The very first thing in there was a letter from 2016 titled "Dear My Future Husband." Given that I'm her future husband, I mean, who wouldn't read that? I knew when I started reading it that it wouldn't make me happy. She was talking like she hadn't met her future husband yet, though we were together. Then she mentioned having been with another man that year in her letter, but not me. That she slept with him once and regretted it. Naturally, at that point I scanned the journal and found the entry. She had gone on a date with the guy she had met online before she tried to break up with me. They had kissed at the end, which she wrote about as well. She had enjoyed it, and decided to end things with me. Her journal says we broke up, but she and I both know now that wasn't the case. During her space from me, she went to his house and had time with him. She said in the journal that he was rude to her after, and she hated it. She stayed there and went home the next day, and that's the day we started trying to work things out together. I found all this out through a journal 2 days ago and told her I found it. Since, it's been up and down turmoil. I'm broken and she doesn't know how to be. She swears she's happy and nothing like that has happened again. She tells me it was a one-time thing, and she feels so terrible for what she's done to me, and that she has ruined the special thing we had together, being we had only ever been with each other. I want to believe she's telling me the truth. I don't want to leave. But I also don't know how to trust her. In my mind, that is 6 years of lying about it. Of letting me believe we had only been with each other. Now I feel like the chump who has only been with one person, and I wasn't good enough for them until they tried someone else. I can't stop picturing them together. I am just so lost and don't know what to do. So I'm here for advice. I've looked for similar situations but haven't found much that's helpful. Thank you for reading my epic. Sorry it was so long. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, put this on her to figure out. Tell her she's destroyed so much more than one special bond and you're going to a hotel for the weekend so she can figure out how she can make this up to you. She lied for 6 years, she took wedding vows in bad faith making them pretty much meaningless, took away your choice to decide if you wanted to remain in a relationship with a liar and a cheater. Don't let her sweep this under the rug as unimportant. You matter. You are important. Is she joking when she says she's happy? Who cares and why would it matter? She regards herself as more important than you in your relationship. Of course she's happy. What she did is cruel and cowardly and you'll never see her in the same way. She needs to figure out a way to make this right. Redditor 2, damn. So you found out you were her second choice. If that guy had been interested in anything other than sex, then she's probably breaking up and pursuing him. And what about the letter to her future husband that she wrote later? You wasted 6 years. Do you really want to invest more time here? Seems pretty risky. Redditor follow-up, if the time was amazing she'd probably have gone back for more. She only came back because it was bad. Redditor 3, she met him online. So she was putting herself out there. It's confusing and painful. You have to be able to trust her. There will be a lot of work to be done on this relationship. Hopefully she will allow you to process without getting insecure and fearful. Counseling for you, then as a couple would be helpful. It's great that you want to keep your family together. If you are allowed to grieve this loss and move on, it will be possible. Wishing your family the best. Answer, I appreciate the words. I've never really been one for counseling, but this situation has me considering it. Redditor 4, that is the problem with lies. Everything from that point forward is tainted. You know, if the time was great you wouldn't be married to her. She would have never come back. I really don't know what to say. You need a chance to clear your head and do a cold analysis of your marriage. Trust once shattered can never be put back the same. So it becomes rebuild new from this point or leave it broken on the floor and walk away. Redditor follow-up, I disagree heavy. She went back because that guy treated her like garbage. It's in her journal. She had no other option anymore except for op. She settled for the guy that was left. Redditor 5, well, in a very real sense, your marriage is built on a lie, 2190 individual lies, in fact, one for every day she kept her secret from you and kept you from exercising your agency. Do with that what you will. Additional, that specialness if being each other's only partner, that's done. Gone forever, there's no going back to the feeling, ever. It can be replaced with something else. But that part of your marriage is over and gone. Can your marriage be saved? I don't know. That depends on what you are capable of forging through, and if she's actually remorseful, hint, she's not yet. Keeping this secret is proof. You loving her is not in question, if course you do. That said, love is never enough, and it takes much more than love to save and maintain a marriage. Redditor 6, dude, she married you under false pretenses. She took something that was important to you and lied about it so you would marry her. This is a monstrous thing. Personally, I would try to look at it like this. It's only 2 years. I think you should detach and try to come to terms with the reality and the trauma she has brought into your life. Get used to the new reality of your marriage and who you are married to. Only then you should decide if you want to continue. You are with someone who was willing to steal your agency in such a horrendous way. Cheaters lie, and they are good at it. She would have taken it to her grave. She was willing to allow you to marry her and continue to lie to you over and over. Doesn't seem like a good choice because her motivation is herself. It's 2 years. If you stay, you will have to live with that for a lifetime. Redditor follow-up, actually, as much as Op does not want to hear it, this is really good advice. No kids, married 2 years, yeah, it is better to just end it. I know that Op does not want to, but it makes the most logical sense, and Op, you will heal quicker this way and move on his life faster. And the real kicker with stuff is that she has shown you she is a cheater. While you hope you know everything, you really do not. She could have been with other people before, during, or after this phase of her life, even if she has not cheated while you were actually married. Which you do really know one way or another. What happens 10 years down the road, after a couple of kids, and she meets someone that makes her nether regions tingle? What is to say that she will not cheat then? She has already shown a propensity to cheat and lie, so why would she not do it later?